Now, apartheid saw many struggle heroes come to the fore, and they suffered so that they could achieve basic human rights for all South Africans. And one of these incredible leaders was Oliver Reginald Tambo, is being honored this Human Rights Day with centenary celebrations marking what would have been his 100th year alive. Now, we are very proud and pleased to have joining us now via Skype to share his insights on the importance of this day and the celebrations is his son, a noted humanitarian and human rights activist and TV personality, Dali Tambo. A very good morning. Hello, Dali.
I'm well, thank you. Good morning to you, good morning to your viewers, and happy Human Rights Day to all the people of South Africa.
To you too, my brother. Now, Human Rights Day commemorates a rather painful event in South Africa's history. We know the Sharpeville massacre. Why is it so important to you to never forget these events, as painful as they are, as we move forward into the future of this country?
Well, I suppose, in terms of public memory, we remember icons, we remember people, we remember tragedies such as the Sharpeville massacre, which out of all the massacres under apartheid is one of the most renowned because of peaceful protest, anti-pass law protest, became a massacre where people were holding up placards, they were met with bullets, and it highlighted the lack of human rights that we had in South Africa at the time, and also brought into sharp relief for the whole world the fact that apartheid, this fascist regime, was in all its essences a crime against humanity itself. I think the point about Human Rights Day is to remember the sacrifices of all those people, and particularly what they sacrificed for. They sacrificed, they died so that we could have the democracy that we have today. And our obligation, therefore, is to make sure that what's counted, the Bill of Rights, is respected, the Constitution is respected, and that the Bill of Rights and the Constitution act as liberatory agents to free our people from their economic condition in which they find themselves today.
An obligation indeed. Now, your father is being honored on the day as a champion of human rights who would have been 100 years this year. What are some of the greatest lessons, and I know we've only got a short time, but some of those great lessons in the solidarity of the human race that you learned from him growing up?
Well, I suppose I watched in awe as, he as my father, but most importantly, a leader of our struggle, garnered the international community to support our struggle in South Africa. It was, at the end of the day, the biggest international solidarity movement of the whole of the 20th century. And it involved whole nations, even if their government was trading in South Africa, such as the British and the Germans, and breaking the sanctions. They, as a people, were in solidarity with our people, because of what we stood for. The nature of his work meant that he was away from me personally for a lot of the time, for 90% of the time. But I still always felt proud to be his son. And I always felt that the way in which we as a family could support him was to say, go forth, Dad, go forth and free our people. Don't worry about us, we'll manage. And so, I loved him as a father, but I also loved and respected him as a liberation leader.
Of course, being honored alongside your father is Stephen Bantu Biko, 2017, of course, marking 40 years since his death in detention in 1977. What do you think their remarks on how far South Africa has come and how far we still need to go would be at this juncture?
So I find it despicable that they took the best and the brightest and the most beautiful that we had to offer, that our nation threw up, and took their lives, and therefore took their potential away from the people of South Africa. But, they're gone now. We mourn them, but we know that we must mourn yet mobilize. And I think that's what the ANC government has been doing. I'm sure they would say, look, you're doing great. And in the last 22 years, you have done a lot, but you must do more. And you must unite like never before. So when we talk about economic freedom in our lifetime and things like that, it's not a light thing. We mean it. that we cannot go through another generation of irreducible poverty. We want a society that is equitable economically, that is just, and that is free. So I'm pretty sure that whether it's Steve Biko, my father, or Chris Honey, they would all say, accelerate transformation, accelerate development, and deliver on the promise that we made to our people.
Ah, beautifully put. Thank you so much for joining Expresso this morning, Mr. Tambo, and happy Human Rights Day.
Not at all, my pleasure. Happy Human Rights Day.
Well, I think the obligation is there for all of us to spend some time together remembering the lives of all who fell and struggled so that we could all live in a liberated and democratic South Africa.